The M3 iPad Air. Is it a bit boring? Yes, but it's also the best iPad for most people. I've had my hands on Apple's mid-range tablet for a bit over a month now, and I've used it for everything from recording and editing music, recording and editing video, streaming music, drawing and taking notes, gaming, and loads more. It handles all of that brilliantly, but that's not really a big surprise. There's a reason Apple dominates the tablet market, and it's not just branding. What is surprising is just how much raw horsepower Apple has packed into this thing with the M3 chip, though there are a few caveats. Now, on the face of it, the M3 iPad Air looks like a straight-up spec bump release. On the outside, the M3 iPad Air looks pretty much identical to every previous iPad Air model since 2020. It still uses Touch ID located in the power button. It's not the fastest fingerprint reader around, but it's reliable and gets the job done. The volume buttons are right where you'd expect them, no surprises there. One of the few notable design changes is the repositioned front-facing camera. It's now along the longer edge of the tablet, a smart move given how often people use their iPads in landscape mode, especially for video calls or media consumption. There's a magnetic connector on the side for charging the new Apple Pencil Pro. We'll get to that shortly. On the bottom edge, you'll find the usual speaker grills and a USB-C port that supports 10 gigabits per second data transfer and connection to an external 4K 60Hz display. Like I said, not much has changed visually, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's still a sleek, premium-looking device. Something that is new is the new Magic Keyboard, designed specifically for the iPad Air. Now, this isn't the fancy aluminium one with the larger trackpad for the M4 iPad Pro, but it's still an improvement. The 11-inch version does a good job of squeezing in the full keyboard layout, including a new function row, which is long overdue. However, it's heavier than the 11-inch iPad Air itself, which is kinda crazy. One thing I would say is that after 2 years of moderate use, the Magic Keyboard for my 12.9-inch iPad Pro has started to wear a bit on the bottom corner, and as these new iPad Air specific keyboards are made from the same material, make sure you're taking good care of it. Oh, and it's also backwards compatible with all previous versions of the iPad Air. I attached my son's 2020 iPad Air and it worked with no issues, so that's nice too. Now let's talk about what really matters, the internals and that M3 chip. I'll pop the full specs on screen rather than rattling them off here, but the takeaway is basically this: it's twice as powerful as the M1 iPad Air, according to Apple, and that kind of tracks with my experience using it. Whether you're editing 4K video, using AI tools, gaming, or running multiple creative apps, this iPad barely breaks a sweat. The updated 9-core GPU, neural engine, and ray tracing capabilities mean you can actually get a spot of proper gaming done too. Apple have released some top-tier AAA games on iOS and Mac recently, and it's great to see that they're all playable on this tablet. I don't have any of their larger releases on hand, as I tend to game on a Steam Deck nowadays mostly, but what I did test ran absolutely flawlessly and looked great on the iPad Air's Liquid Retina screen. This iPad also now has 8GB of RAM and starts at 128GB of storage. All of that at the same base price as the previous version, which is fantastic and also necessary for Apple Intelligence. Yes, whether you love it or find it a bit redundant really, the M3 iPad Air is Apple Intelligence ready. All of Apple's AI-based stuff is done on chip, so while I don't really have much use for the images I'm able to create in Apple's image playground, the M3 iPad Air handles AI image generation without so much as a stutter. Infinitely more useful to me are Apple's AI writing tools, and it's a feature I find I actually do use now and again, and it works very well here too. Well, mostly. Specs, accessories, and AI stuff aside, how does this iPad actually deal with iOS music production, DAWs, and apps? In GarageBand, it opens and closes projects quickly, loads instruments and sounds really fast, and provides an all-around silky smooth experience. I wasn't able to make the Air break the tiniest of sweats when testing in GarageBand, no matter how many effects or external instruments I added. If you plan to grab one of these to make music in GarageBand and want it to last you years to come, I don't think you'll be disappointed. It handles Logic Pro for iPads surprisingly well too. Multiple instances of heavy-duty effects like Chroma Glow, several session players, and loads of onboard AUV3 plugins. It does it all without skipping a beat. Logic Pro's famously hard to playback demo project Swing can cause older iPad models to stutter, skip, or even crash completely. I tested out a 2020 iPad Air, 8th generation iPad, and 2021 iPad Mini 6 with this demo song, and none of them made it past the last chorus without giving up the ghost. With the CPU and memory displays active in Logic Pro for iPad, you can see that the M3 iPad Air sails through this section of the song without any issues whatsoever. There are two sizes of this new model available, an 11-inch and 13-inch. The 11-inch feels like the sweet spot here, as while the extra screen space provided by the 13-inch model is nice, you're starting to creep into iPad Pro price range. If you do think the 11-inch screen will be hard to work with, especially when it comes to making small parameter changes in plugins or DAWs, a stylus or Apple Pencil might help here. Note that this new iPad Air model is only compatible with the Apple Pencil Pro or Apple Pencil USB. If you have a 1st-gen Apple Pencil or the Apple Pencil 2 that is compatible with the previous iPad Air model, they won't work with this model. Apple's Pencil lineup is in a bit of a state right now. If you're just looking for something to use with GarageBand or Logic Pro specifically and don't really care about the admittedly really cool features of the new official Apple Pencils, a cheaper one from Amazon will totally get the job done. The Apple Pencil Pro is really nice though, and should definitely be a serious consideration if you also use your iPad for digital art or things like that. I said at the top of the video that the M3 iPad Air was a bit boring, and that's maybe not quite fair. Yes, design-wise, things haven't changed much in the last 5 years, but the processing power that Apple are jamming into these things nowadays is different. When it comes to music production on iPad, grabbing yourself one of these is going to see you set for years. It's just that powerful. But it isn't perfect. Battery life is noticeably not as good as in previous models, and it also gets quite warm when you use it for more strenuous tasks for long periods. The value proposition also starts to quickly drop off the more you spec the M3 iPad Air up. It's great that storage starts at 128GB, but if you want to increase that any, you'll be paying quite a bit more. I think the base model, or at a push the 256GB storage option, is the sweet spot here, price-wise. With all that said, unless price is no object, or you want to buy a refurbished or second-hand older iPad, this is the one to go for. Apple have made this iPad so powerful that you will genuinely not even come close to pushing it to its limit when it comes to music production for years to come, if ever. In my opinion, the iPad Air has always been the best option, not just for iOS musicians, but for just most people in general. And the M3 iPad Air is no different. Let me know your thoughts on this new M3 iPad Air and whether you plan to get one down in the comments. And if you want to check out my review of another new iPad model, watch this video next.